Hey everyone, RogueGold here, welcome back to the Division 2. Now today, I'm sure you're all familiar with the Determine and one-shot combo build, right? That thing that many people say is the best thing to run when you're solo. Arguably, it probably shouldn't even be achievable in the game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is its gameplay potential, exemplified in this clip. Yeah, that's cute. Guess what? After this week's update, we can now do this. Want to find out how? Don't worry, as we're going to cover all of it in this video. The full credit for this video, and at least where my idea began to start messing around with all of this, came from SpeedRacer05 here on screen. We were streaming the new April Fool's update yesterday when these kneepads got added, and they said, what if you tried the new kneepads with a hotshot build? Everything just spiraled out from there, so shout out to SpeedRacer. But with that said, if you want to stay up to date on everything with the Division 2, then be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already, and let's waste no more time and get right to this. Alright, so it's first probably important for us to establish what kind of build we are modifying here, right? What am I talking about to begin with? When you hear somebody bring up like a hotshot or a determined build, this is more or less likely what they are referring to. There are a couple different variations that people like to do here, a couple different templates. The basic idea, if you're going to run the determined talent, which is the cornerstone for all of this on a marksman rifle, is to do 4 pieces of the hotshot gear set here. And then I have opted to go for 2 pieces of Habsburg Guard. This gets me 13% headshot damage and 20% marksman rifle damage. Some people swap out which brands they have here, but the important part is to get Headhunter on your chest piece and then Vigilance on the backpack. And then for every single stat, mod, whatever, we're doing weapon damage, headshot damage. And in combination, when we go over to this, we have 251% headshot damage. That said, you want to know what the problem with this build is? It is complete and utter overkill, at least when you're talking about solo scaling, right? The idea here is that with the determined talent, which makes it so that after killing an enemy with a headshot, the next shot landed on any enemy will be a guaranteed headshot. That means that you can make this infinite headshot one-shot chain, except for the fact that when you're solo, even on heroic, you are one-tapping these enemies, and you're essentially overkilling them like 2 or 3 or 4 times over, right? You simply don't need the amount of damage that's actually going in to take them down. Well, then in comes the turmoil. Now, these are the brand new named kneepads that come with a talent. They were just released as of this week's April Fool's event. I did an entire video breaking all of that down here. You can check it out up in the top corner or down in the description. But essentially, this is going to be a free login item for the next little bit. So if you want them, be sure to log in and claim them from your stash. It is a Cheska piece that comes with those fixed rolls, and then we have the Bewildered talent here. It reads, when dealing weapon damage to an enemy, 50% of the damage will be dealt to another enemy within 30 meters instead. When there are no enemies nearby, deal damage normally, does not apply to armor plates. So all of a sudden swoops in the turmoil here, and it completely fixes that issue that we were just talking about. Because what this talent is literally doing is taking the damage of each bullet that you fire, splitting it in half, and taking that other half and dishing it out to another enemy within 30 meters. And what this allows you to do, if you set everything up correctly, as you saw in the gameplay, is shoot 1 bullet at 1 enemy and kill 2 enemies at once. The question is, how do we modify the build to accommodate these new kneepads? Well, firstly, of course, you're going to want to equip them, but then if we back out and take a look at the larger build, we've of course now lost our 4-piece hotshot bonus, which while manageable, would be tough. If you want to run the build that way, that is completely viable. I like getting hotshots bonuses, like the extra bonus armor, the fact that it reloads your entire magazine without you having to do so once you get enough kills. So what options do we have to restore that 4-piece? Well, we can't really get rid of the chest piece because Headhunter is providing us with so much damage that it's just really hard to compensate for that if you lose it. But the one that we can stand to lose is Vigilance. So one option is that you could run then a hotshot backpack to make up for that 4-piece. You see I have one right here with headshot damage. The problem though is that the amplification talent you get Blessed doesn't increase your damage in any way, shape, or form. And so not only are you losing Vigilance, but you've also lost your second piece of Habsburg, meaning you're now down 20% marksman rifle damage. A better alternative, and the one that I ended up running for all of the gameplay that you will see within this video, is to run the Ninja Bike backpack. Now I know, in some circles this is a sin to run anywhere in PvE, but it's what's worked out for me. I always encourage you to test out what will work for you. The reason I'm running this is that not only by running this do we get our 4-piece of Hotshot back, but we also restore that 2-piece of Habsburg to get the 20% marksman rifle damage. And so while we are sacrificing vigilance in the process, as you will see in the gameplay, at least in solo, scaling on heroic, this combination right here still allows us to one-shot pretty much any enemy that comes our way. And even when Turmoil splits the damage in half, we're still one-shotting 2 different enemies. Alright, so to demonstrate this one-shot 2-kill version of the Determined build, I want to show you all this heroic control point clear that I did. I timed it, and from the time at which I shoot my first shot to when the last enemy of the entire control point hits the ground, we're looking at a 65-second clear time. And that's not just clearing out the defenders. 65 seconds between when I begin assaulting the control point and when the final boss of the reinforcement wave dies. No cuts, no speed ups here, nothing. Just watch this clip.
Reinforcements en route. Heavily armored hostile. Incoming hostiles detected. Heavily armored hostile detected.
So that's really all there is to it, folks. Some are saying that the Turmoil here is super overrated. Other people are saying it is now the best in slot thing to put in every single build. I think, as we all know, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, but utilized in the right circumstances, as you can see with this build, it's definitely a very neat new item that we have within the Division 2's endgame sandbox. So I hope this video helped educate and inform on some of that stuff. Shout out again to Speed Racer for putting me onto this. That is all I have in this one, my friends. I would love to get your thoughts not only on what we showed off in this video, but additionally, if you've been messing around with the Turmoil so far since its release, what are some of the best builds and combinations that you've come up with? As you might be seeing in the background gameplay right now, I have also been testing this out on Striker. It can be quite fun in that context as well, so I'm sure all of you out there are coming up with your own unique creations, and I would love to hear about them. That is just about going to do it for me today, though. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Ow.